Everybody, what is up? It is Blynn and I'm back with yet another video for you. As promised, a second video for you today because there is a lot of drama going on the internet with YouTubers and such. So as promised, here I am with a second video for you today. Now for this one, girl, I had to make notes in my trusty little drama notebook for this one because this is a doozy. This really is a doozy. So, Creepshow art. If you've clicked on this video, you will probably remember a YouTuber by the name of Creepshow art who got into an awful lot of trouble about 6 months ago, leading her to then take a hiatus from YouTube. People didn't know if Creepshow was going to return or not. There was a lot of drama with people who were friends with Creepshow because they felt betrayed by Creepshow, Shannon and all this other stuff. I made videos on that at the time and it was a whole huge mess. There was a lot to it. There was a lot to do with Creepshow art, Shannon stalking somebody by the name of Emily Artful, another YouTuber on the platform. Girl, this one is a huge mess. And this video that Creepshow art has just put out, called something like The Lies of Emily Artful, it is 2.5 hours long. Yeah, really. So if you didn't want to give that video a view, then I'm here to give you a little bit of a recap and my thoughts on that video. I'm not going to go into absolutely everything that's in that video because it's 2.5 hours long and we'd be here all day if I dissected every single little bit of it. But I am going to give you my overall kind of thoughts and summary on the video. So if you're interested in that, then stay tuned. So about 6 months ago, before Creepshow art left YouTube, you know, went on hiatus, whatever, disappeared. Before Creepshow art had disappeared off of YouTube, she was saying that she'd been hacked. Do you guys remember that? She was saying that she'd been hacked, that it wasn't her who'd been leaving transphobic remarks, etc., and all of these hateful things said about other people who were her friends on the forum Locale Farms. Now, Locale Farms isn't something that I've ever used, but it's a forum on the internet where people go to talk shit, and Shannon Creepshow art was on there talking shit about people that she knew, making transphobic remarks about people, and just being really all around hateful about people. So when that was exposed, Shannon then said, oh, that wasn't me, I've been being stalked, I've been hacked, and she came out with all these excuses. Instead of putting her hands up and saying, yeah, it was me, I did that shit, I said those things, and taking accountability for it, what she did was say that she was hacked. Then her friends made videos on Shannon talking about her behaviour. Then Emily Artful made a video about Shannon detailing all about how Shannon had actually stalked her. And this is going back, like I say, 6 months ago. So, you know, that's kind of old tea, old drama, you know. But now Creepshow art has come back with this video debunking Emily Artful's lies and proving that she was being stalked by this Amy person. It's a lot. It's so much. In my opinion, this isn't a video that has done Creepshow art any favours at all. This is something that Creepshow art should have just never done. She should have just sat there and ate her food, really. You know, stayed quiet, not said anything, unless she was actually coming to take accountability for the stuff that she said on the Locale Farms forums. She should have just shut her damn mouth. The thing that I want to talk about most in this video is part 2 of Shannon Creepshow art's video. She was talking about Emily Artful's addiction, and also what she did was go back into old clips, old footage, old Instagram posts of Emily Artful, claiming that Emily was lying about her sobriety date, claiming that Emily was lying about the fact that Shannon's husband had abused Emily, all of this really dark, deep stuff. Now, this for me was just so awful. As somebody who has struggled with addiction, and, you know, I'm sober now, but also has family members that are very currently struggling with addiction, you know, hi, see my community post. That's something to do with why I haven't really been around the last couple of days. But this is something that is very close to home to me as a topic, addiction. So that's why I really took offence to this particular part of the video. and I'm going to get into it a little bit. So Shannon, Creepshow Art, was saying Emily said that she had got sober from H in 2012. Then what Shannon had done is she had gone digging into Emily's past. She was pulling up all of this stuff. So she's basically kept a file, a dossier on Emily Artful. Now, if you're friends with someone, that's not a normal thing to do. You don't do that to somebody that you're friends with. And I personally don't think it's ever okay to question somebody's addiction and sobriety like that. I think it's demeaning and degrading and just horrible, basically. It's just not a nice thing to do to anybody. So why Shannon thought any of that would be a good idea is beyond me. Was then making the point that in 2016 Emily's sobriety date had changed, that it was actually 2015, not 2012. So Shannon is basically accusing Emily Artful of being like a lying junkie. That is what it boiled down to. And that's a horrible thing to do to somebody. If somebody tells you, hey, you know, I got sober at such and such time, and then Shannon has come back with all this stuff, you know, that she's got from God knows where, you know, that she's, like I say, kept a file on Emily Artful, it seems, the poor girl, you know, come back saying, oh no, well, she was still using in 2015. I don't know what proof Shannon has that Emily was still using in 2015. But it sounded like Shannon was only going on what her husband had said. Now, bear in mind, that is the same husband that's accused of abusing Emily Artful. Then Shannon went on to talk about the fact that Emily has said that she's been abused like 8 times and that she doesn't actually fully believe Emily. She's finding it hard to believe Emily's claims. All of this stuff. So as well as, you know, talking about Emily's sobriety, all of that, Shannon is then going on and actually victim blaming Emily, which I find really gross, really disgusting. You know, I've talked about other people on YouTube doing that, like Gabby Hanna with Jessie Smiles, you know, and I don't think that that is okay at all. You know, I'm a survivor myself. I don't think any of what Shannon said pertaining to addiction or to Emily's abuse was relevant. I don't think any of that needed to be brought up in Shannon's video. I think that Shannon should have just closed her mouth on this one and stayed the fuck gone. Also, if any of you remember Creepshow Art's older content where she was talking about people like Shane Dawson, if you remember all of that from Creepshow Art, then you will probably also remember Creepshow Art sticking up for James Charles, capping for James Charles, like, oh, you know, he didn't do anything, it's all other people lying about him. But look where we are now. Look where we are now. 2020 and 2021. If it has shown us anything about James Charles, it's that he is guilty of what he was accused of. Because since, you know, 2021, 2022, all that time since 2019, James Charles has had this pattern of behaviour. You know, Creepshow Art in like 2019, 2020, early on, was defending James Charles. So then it came out 2020, 2021, like I say, that James Charles is actually a piece of shit and he is actually what people were accusing him of. Yet Creepshow Art was sticking up for him and riding for him all the way. So I'm just like, okay, so she's victim blamed Emily Artful. She's accused Emily of lying about addiction. And also in her past content, she's been sticking up for James Charles, who is known to go after minors, asking them for nudes and harassing them via like apps, you know, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, that kind of thing. We've just had another news story about James Charles come out a few days ago. You know, I'm not going to get into all of that again because I did mention that briefly in my previous video as well. But when you look at all of Creepshow Art's content, when you look at the way that she's behaved with her friends, when you look at the fact that she's kept a whole ass file dossier on Emily Artful, that to me isn't normal behaviour. That isn't something that you would do if you were friends with somebody. I don't sit here and keep receipts on other drama channels, you know, that I might like or be friendly with. I don't sit here and keep receipts on anyone for a purpose like that. You know, I don't sit here, you know, collecting information about people like that. I come on here and I do tea videos, the drama videos about other big YouTubers and all that kind of stuff, you know. So to me, Shannon's behaviour is very, very abnormal. And you would have thought that in this 6 months away from YouTube, Shannon would have, you know, taken a bit of it on board and taken accountability for herself, her own behaviour, and actually looked at herself and said, oh, well, you know, maybe I really do need help now. But it doesn't seem like that's what Shannon's done at all. It seems like Shannon's maybe spoken to a lawyer about the videos about Emily Artful and anything that was said about Shannon by anyone else. It seems like Shannon might have maybe spoken to a lawyer and got the okay to be like, oh, well, you know, nothing's going to happen to you. So Shannon has now come back with this video, which is basically a hit piece on Emily Artful. And it's like, girl, what are you doing? You know, really, I don't know how Shannon thought any of this was a good idea. It's like, okay, well, yeah, I wasn't stalking this girl, but here's X, Y, and Z information about her. And it's things that were all way in her past and detailed things, dark things. It's things that only someone close to her person would know. So how is Shannon going to sit there and pretend like she wasn't stalking Emily when she's got all of this background information on Emily? I'm like, no, this doesn't ring true for me. So I'm just like, no, you know, I don't believe the things that Shannon said in her video. You're free, of course, to go and watch it for yourselves and make up your own mind, have your own opinion. But just me, watching the video today, I'm not buying it, you know. And I think Shannon should have stayed the fuck gone and closed her mouth on this one. Anyway, guys, I'm going to say take care, stay safe, stay well. Please let me know all your thoughts on Shannon's video if you've watched it, if you're interested in any of this. If you've kept up with any of the Creepshow stuff, you know, that was going on last year, please do let me know your thoughts on Shannon's new video. I'm curious to know what you guys think. So I'm going to say take care. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you soon. Bye.